Hello everyone out there in the void. For this video, I just wanted to show off some art pieces that I just received from Samuel David. Over the summer, Sam did a fundraiser raffle to raise money for several charitable organizations: the Domestic Violence Hotline, the Trevor Project, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Iraqi Children's Foundation, and the Central Asian Institute. I won a clay effigy of Pazuzu. He also sent me a few other pieces that he made along with Pazuzu. So I'm going to show off all of the pieces and also tell you about the original artifacts that they are inspired by and how the symbols relate to my practice. Because isn't the whole point of YouTube to give you somewhere to infodump about your favorite things that your spouse probably isn't interested in hearing about? So first, here is Pazuzu. And now I finally have an excuse to make this rant on my channel. So modern people have a lot of misconceptions about Pazuzu. Most people only know him from poorly researched pop culture nonsense, particularly from the movie The Exorcist. The Exorcist got Pazuzu completely wrong. Originally, back in the old-timey days, Pazuzu was seen as a protective figure. He was primarily petitioned by pregnant women and mothers to protect their children from the evil Lamashtu. Pregnant women would wear an amulet of Pazuzu's head to keep Lamashtu away. Pazuzu would never harm a child, so it is absolutely ridiculous that he was portrayed as possessing a kid in The Exorcist. In addition to being a protector of children, Pazuzu is also the king of the wind demons, and he is possibly derived from earlier representations of the west or southwest wind. I have him on my shelf on my north wall right now, but I want to rearrange some things and find a spot for him on my west wall eventually. I feel I should point out that the term demon just refers to spirits without specifying if they are good or evil. I think it must have eventually taken on a negative connotation as monotheistic religions started gaining popularity. Since monotheism's whole thing is requiring unquestioning loyalty to and dependence on just one deity, they had to convince people that all the other gods and spirits were evil, hence classifying all other spiritual entities as evil demons. It's all a bunch of xenophobic propaganda. Next, here is a clay art piece featuring Inanna and Dumuzi. This one is based on an Akkadian cylinder seal that was found near Nirsu, which is modern-day Tel Tel. It is currently on display at the Louvre. The scene possibly shows Dumuzi ascending from the underworld, with Inanna there to greet him. I've seen this image labeled as the Hulupu tree, which is usually speculated to be a willow or a date palm from what I've seen, but I usually think of this image as the apple tree where Dumuzi was dragged to the underworld in the myths. I was pretty upset when my apple tree split in half during a snowstorm and had to be chopped down a few years ago. But then I realized that the hole made by the split stump was a great place to leave offerings to the dead because of the association between Dumuzi's descent and the apple tree. It's also a good place to leave snacks for wild animals. And now the apple tree is growing back from the stump, just as Dumuzi returns from the underworld every year. There are now also wild grapevines growing around the apple tree, which reminds me of Dumuzi's sister, Geshtinana. Don't try to tell me that Mesopotamian polytheism isn't a nature-based religion. Our relationship with the gods reflects the relationship between civilization and nature. The two can't be separated. I think the idea that nature and human civilization are wholly different things comes from new religious movements like Christianity. So we need to deconstruct this way of thinking if we want to repair our relationship to the earth. But that's a topic for another time. Okay, next up is this piece featuring Inanna atop a lion. I'm not sure if this one is based on a specific ancient artifact, but a goddess standing atop a lion holding the rod and ring with an 8-point star indicates that it represents Inanna or Ishtar. I believe I've seen similar images of Ishtar of Arbela, who is technically different from Inanna. I think at some point, Ishtar was used as a general term for goddesses, rather than a specific name. I love lions. Lions are sacred to Inanna, and also one of my family's surnames means lioness. So between my altar and shrines for Inanna and my ancestor altar, I have a lot of lion imagery in here. I have fewer things for the Wilbur side on my ancestor altar though, because wild boars just aren't as cool as lions. Though I've been associating Dumuzi with wild boars for a while now. I don't know why. I don't even know if there were wild boars in the Near East, so I should probably research that. And finally, this piece shows Inanna's most well-known symbol, her 8-pointed star. Inanna is associated with the planet Venus, which is also known as the evening star and the morning star. Oh, I wonder if Christians started calling their big bad guy the morning star because of their efforts to demonize pagan gods. Like maybe they started calling Satan by the same epithet as Inanna so people would start conflating the two in their minds. I don't know. Anyway, I want to get a tattoo of Inanna's star. I just have to get over my fear of sharp, pointy things. It hurt so freaking bad when I got my little dots for when I had radiation, but I also didn't really want those tattoos, and I do really want this one. I think I'd prefer to find a tattoo artist who is pagan themselves to do it. It's probably asking too much to find someone who is a devotee of Inanna and also a tattoo artist, but there's probably got to be plenty of pagan tattoo artists out there. It will just be a small black outline on my wrist, nothing too complicated. So if anyone can recommend someone near Cleveland, Ohio, send me their info. Okay, that's all I have today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.